Grief is such a complex and personal journey. And I wanted to talk today about something that are one of the more common emotions that I talk to my coaching clients about. One of the more common things that most of us experience, but we don't often talk about it because we allow ourselves to feel ashamed, embarrassed, or it may just be that it's just too hard to talk about, and that's guilt. There are so many emotions surrounding grief, but guilt is one that can really take hold of us. It can really bring us down. It can really become overwhelming if we're experiencing guilt and we sit in that and just allow that to fester inside of us. It can cause real physical and emotional pain and symptoms. And typically that guilt is around something that we said we wish we hadn't said, something we did we wish we hadn't done, somehow feeling responsible for the death of our loved one, feeling as if we should have been there if we weren't. I know a lot of times in dealing with bereaved parents, and it was also true for myself after losing my son, I felt so much guilt surrounding the role of a parent, the stigma that's placed on us, like we're their protector. So if my main role in life was to be his protector, how could I not feel guilty because I wasn't there? I wasn't there in those last minutes in the car with him. And then I worry, was he afraid? Did he want to say, "Mom, what do I do?" Was he scared? Was he wishing that I was there? A rush of emotions and thoughts go through our minds when we're experiencing guilt. So I just want you to know it's a really common thing. It's a really scary thing. And unless you take control of it, unless you process it step by step, it's a process. It's not something that you just decide miraculously, oh, you know what? I'm not going to feel guilty anymore. I wish it was that easy. It's not. So you have to work through a process of uncovering where those feelings of guilt are coming from, uncovering if the thoughts you're having are even true. Because a lot of times, just because of the magnitude of our grief, the magnitude of our loss, we tend to put too much on it. We tend to embellish it. We tend to add things to it. And we put undue stress on us. We put something on us that really was out of our control, that wasn't our responsibility, that if we did the thing that we wish we would have done or hadn't done the thing we wish we hadn't done, the outcome would have been the same. Or we can uncover the fact that our loved one really did know. We really had shown them that we wish we hadn't said, or we wish we hadn't done whatever it was that we're feeling guilty about. And I believe that we still can. I believe that we still have that opportunity. I believe that writing a goodbye letter helps tremendously in processing our grief and letting go of those feelings. There are many things that we can do. That's just one thing. But When we lose someone we love, we go through so many of those what if scenarios. And those, it's like going down a rabbit hole. That's one of the worst things that we can do. Because in all honesty, it doesn't change the outcome. It doesn't change the fact that the person is no longer here with us and we miss them terribly and they've left a void in our life. It doesn't change that. And while we wish it could, the reality is it doesn't. The only purpose the what if game is serving is tormenting ourselves. Tormenting ourselves. So I encourage you not to do that with yourself. And ask yourself, is this hurting me or is this helping me? And seek support. If you're experiencing guilt associated with a loss and your grief, seek support. It's okay to need help. Not many people can process their grief in a healthy manner and learn to become resilient, learn to release, to embrace life again, to truly be able to say that they are healed and they are thriving. Not many people can do that on their own. We all need support in some way, whether it be a trusted friend, family member, or a professional. It's okay to ask for help. It's okay to ask for help. I couldn't have done this without help, without support, without the extensive research that I've done, without the training that I went through to become a certified master grief coach. Without that training, it helped me. That alone helped me. And then I turned my loss into something meaningful for me. And that's in helping others, supporting others, letting others know they're not alone, letting others know I've been there. Others have been there. And then sitting with individuals, listening to what they're feeling and experiencing, and helping them to make sense of it, helping them to get unstuck. Because being stuck in grief is not a life. It's not a life. It's a life sentence of sadness, of despair, of hopelessness. And no one deserves that. You deserve to be happy in spite of your loss, in spite of the guilt you may feel. So I encourage you, if that's you, seek support. Seek support from someone who understands grief. And learn to embrace life again. Learn to allow joy to coexist alongside your grief. It is possible. It is possible. In 2005, I lost my first husband to kidney failure. And in 2012, our son and my only child was killed in a car accident. Nothing prepared me for that. Nothing prepared me for that. But it's been almost 11 years since my son passed, and 18 years since my husband passed. And I sit here today living my best life. I just celebrated my 13th anniversary with my best friend, my biggest supporter. But after losing my husband, I was a single mom dealing with grief myself and having to help my grieving son, and it was horrible. I didn't see a future for me that didn't include sadness, but here I am. Here I am. I've put in the work. I've made real change in my life. I've learned to change my mindset. I have mastered my mindset and my emotions. I can turn my grief off in a healthy way because I've worked on it, because I've worked to change my subconscious thoughts. It's not easy, but if your desire to live and to overcome your grief is great, then I would love to help you get there. Nothing is more healing for me than watching someone else transform, watching someone else's grief fade into the background. It doesn't go away. It always sits with us. It always sits with us, but it can get easier and it can get better. So I encourage you, seek support if needed. No one deserves this. No one deserves a life stuck in grief. And if you're interested in learning more about working with me, if you feel comfortable with me and my experience, you can learn more about me by visiting my website. You can just search Living in Gratitude with TLC, Living in Gratitude with, and my initials, TLC, Terry Lynn Chaplin. So my website is www.livingingratitudewithtlc.com. You can also find me on Facebook under Terry Lynn Chaplin, CHAPLIN. I facilitate a gratitude group called Living in Gratitude with TLC. And I also facilitate an online support group for bereaved parents. It's Living in Gratitude with TLC - Child Loss Private Group. But message me. You can message me anywhere, and I'll send you the link. Thanks for joining me. And remember, choose your heart.